So, Brian, how was your week, my friend?
As always, sir, my week was awesome. Actually, you
Awesome.
know what? Not only was it awesome, but as my tag name will tell you, it was full of greatness.
Yes, you are right. Dude, did you watch Mayor of Kingstown yet?
I did. I actually caught up with it right before we went on tonight. As always, you gotta love Mike and just all the things that they do. And I'm just hoping that we get a trip from between Michigan and Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hmm.
That's because I went back and looked like, what city is this in? And is this in Michigan? I'm like, Michigan to Tulsa, not that far.
Yeah,
You
it can
know,
happen. It
maybe
can
we can get
happen.
maybe get a crossover. Maybe get and then you know what? Let's go to is it Wyoming, Montana? Where's Yellowstone?
Yeah,
Montana?
yeah.
Yeah, let's just go. Let's do all the things. Let's do all the things.
So, did you see that Dennis Quaid was cast in the next? So, it's the sequel season to 1883, I guess. Or it's a sequel season to 1923 or 1883, but
Okay.
Dennis Quaid's been cast as like some sheriff type person. So
Well, I mean, everything that Taylor Sheridan does, like he's my bud. Like everything Taylor, my
mhm.
boy T. But seriously, everything that Taylor Sheridan does, has garnered such critical and commercial praise that I get, and there's certain actors that his material kind of leans. I could totally see
Mhm.
Dennis Quaid. That good looking guy, but he's also kind of gristle. Basically, everyone who played like the mid range action star in the '90s is going to wind up on a Taylor Sheridan show. That's just how it's going to work.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like that a lot. And apparently, I'm playing with the with the backgrounds there.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Yeah,
I
let's
like
take a
I
look at
like
this.
hot pink. Yeah,
I
man.
like it.
That's
Yeah,
us. That's us. That's
that is
very
a
80s. That's very 80s, which
right.
that's gonna fit this. And remember, here at Prevenge of the Nerds, we go by the tagline, at least we're not Bill Cosby. So there
That
we
is
go.
That's right. So, well, I think this is going to go right into our what's your movie and TV show of the week?
Okay, so do not have a movie of the week. However, my TV show of the week it is a Vox Machina. All right, so I almost went with Mayor of Youngstown of Kingstown, excuse
Mhm.
me. But Vox Machina gave us 3 episodes, so I got to go with Vox Machina. Absolutely love it. Was so psyched that it's back and digging the new storyline. No spoilers other than if you like dragons, check out Vox Machina.
And I am with you. My show of the week is yes, Vox Machina. If you've ever watched the show, we
Yes.
work this show in quite a bit. We are
Yes.
both pretty big fans. This was in our top 10. I mean,
Yes.
like Vox Machina, it is it is the turds that will never be flushed.
And well, I'm not gonna run with that analogy. I'm not gonna run with that analogy. But
Probably not a good idea to
yeah,
run
yeah,
with that one. Yeah.
yeah, because I don't want to get clogged up in any type of pigeonholing. Because sometimes you just got to keep it moving.
Right.
And we're just gonna wipe it clean.
Mhm.
But man, there may be that one hanger on.
Right.
But as we continue down this road, hey, I'm here all week, folks. Uh, Vox Machina, not only do we love it, again, Amazon does a really good job of advertising a lot of their stuff. Vox Machina, both the first season and the second season, kind of shows up.
Mhm.
It's not like they push with the boys or the Lord of the Rings peak prequel. It really just is kind of there. But since we both really dig it, do you personally have a character that you identify with on Vox?
You know, I would have to say so. I mean, I want to say the oh, I can't think of their names right now, but the probably Grog.
Grog. I knew you were gonna say Grog.
He
I knew you were
he,
gonna
he
say
got the
Grog.
beard. He got the
I knew
beard.
you're going Grog. I knew you're going Grog.
I mean, like man, Grog is pretty awesome, but the tree elf is really freaking cool too. So
Yes,
oh
yes,
man, so good, so
yes.
good.
Well, I myself, I wrote just like Scanlan Shorthalt. The guy with the guitar. That's totally me. Totally,
Yeah.
just hanging out, flying through a hand, just making it happen. So, all right, sir. But yes, my show of the week is Vox. Your show of the week is Vox. So you know what? We're gonna give voice to the voiceless, because that's what we do here at Prevenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, so the Vox Machina will be our show and movie of the week because we got 3 episodes. How about
We
that?
got 3 episodes, and 3 episodes that are about the same length as one episode of Mayor of Kingstown. So it works out well that way. By the way, Vox Machina, in case just in case anyone didn't is unfamiliar with the show, it is rated M for mature. It is animated, and it is definitely not for kids. So,
And amazing.
yeah, it is anime. The animation is totally Avatar, Last Airbender. It looks so much like that. I'm curious if they have the same animation team, because the animation looks very, very similar. So,
Awesome.
um, yep, sir. So, what's next with us today, sir?
All right, well, let's go ahead and play that funky music.
Let's hit it.
Get your earphones in, everybody, and everybody hear us out. We are Rabutin and Brian Dennis, and this is PVOTN. We've got my dad leveling up your awesomeness, dropping knowledge of TV, movies, and comics. We've got Brian Dennis flexing his nerd muscles. How you level up your awesomeness? He will solve the puzzle. Just when you thought you've heard it all, a new episode will come along. Won't you like, subscribe, and rate our show? One last thing. Leave a 5-star review before you go. Oh yeah!
Welcome to the Fandemic Presents Prevenge of the Nerds. We are your one-stop podcast. Every week, we are going to give you all the things to level up your awesome. You can also order my kids' books, Leveling Up My Awesome, and Stuffed Animal Night Force versus the Dream Invaders on Amazon for $7.99, or contact me for autographed copies for just a little bit more. All right, so this is how the show is going to go. We're going to tell you the stories that could have led to your favorite movies, TV shows, and so much more. That will be part 1. Then the following week, we are going to tell you the after credit scene. That will be the stories that could have happened after the story was told. This will be our part 2. We did it to Spaceballs. Now we'll get into that in just a minute. But first, I am the self-proclaimed Emperor of Awesome, Bradley Butin, and this is my co-host, the unverified twin of Shamar Moore, at least in the nipples, the unverified twin of Batista in the head wrinkles, and the unverified twin of Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the eyebrows. What's your name?
My name, if you can smell what I'm cooking, is Brian S. Dennis. The S stands for the Truffle Shuffle.
Yes, it does. We are streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube. So don't forget to like, share, hit all the buttons that reminds you on all the platforms. Don't forget to tell all your nerdy friends as well, so they can level up their awesome, and you'll always be ahead of them because you're the one that's telling them to do it. All right, Brian.
Yes, sir.
I think we should start today off with a good old-fashioned honest advertisement.
Would you like the honest ad? Are you feeling the honest ad?
I'm feeling it.
All right, sir. Here we go. So this week, our honest ad is for Hamburger Helper. Moms and dads, we all know what it's like to come home after a hard day's work. Brad, can you relate to this? Only to find that our no good, rotten, heathen children have trashed the house, filled the sink full of dirty dishes, and have eaten the leftovers that we had planned for dinner. R.I.P. pork chops and mashed potatoes. And just like that, when we ask, what do you do when there's a bomb on a bus and if it goes less than 50 miles an hour, what do you do, Hotshot Bradley? What do you do when there's nothing to eat? I tell you, sir, here's what you do. Do you take them to McDonald's?
No.
You're not right. And you know what? I'm boycotting McDonald's. Let me tell you what the hell was really in the McRib. Because that ain't a rib. All right.
Right.
And you know what? Do you DoorDash? Not when there's $5 fee for tacos, right? But here's what you do. When you need
You said doo doo.
if we can do, we can bye bye.
You said doo doo.
I said do. Yeah.
You said
all right.
doo doo. Oh, we've already got 2 poop jokes in the day, man.
Back to the ad. Okay. So you don't do DoorDash. There's a $5 delivery free on tacos. Here's what you do. You get Hamburger Helper. All right. Because remember, with Hamburger Helper, all you need is 1 pound and 1 pan to show your family that you love them just enough not to let them starve.
Yeah. And what's with the hand mascot thing?
I want the Hamburger Helper. Okay, here's all right, real quick death battle. The Hamburger Helper hand versus it from Thing from Addams Family. Okay, we gotta say hi to Miss Leia. Hi,
Leia.
Princess.
Say hi to everybody.
Here it comes.
Bye.
All right.
Not bad. That one was not bad.
That wasn't bad at all. Okay, say hi to Brian. Say bye bye.
Bye bye.
How about bye, Princess?
You know you're supposed to come in here before we get going, right, baby girl? She doesn't
You
care
didn't
for the
tell
rules.
me.
All right. So what say bye? We're gonna get going on the podcast, right, girly?
On your podcast.
We are on the podcast. We're
You're
11 minutes in.
lying.
All right, kiddo. I love you.
I love you too, big boy. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. Yeah. So Thing versus the Hamburger Helper mascot. I mean, I'm gonna go Thing because he's actually a hand. The other is a glove.
The glove versus the Infinity Gauntlet.
Ooh, what if Thing got the Infinity Gauntlet?
He should just snap for a body.
I mean, there's 2 snaps in the Addams Family, so I mean,
Yeah.
I agree. I'm with you. What would Thing
Yes.
look like? I wonder if we'll ever know.
Or if he should, you know what? No, we already know those are going to be big, orange, and covered with rocks.
Oh yeah, duh, and part of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, we know what happened to Ben Grimm's overhand. You see, that's what happens when, after looking in the box, it's under the bed, and you open it slowly, you may spend some time just alone when, it's kind of cold outside. It is January, where maybe, the hand just falls off and it runs off and makes friends and goes to summer camp with a prepubescent girl and solves mysteries.
Yeah, I'm game. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are you, Thing or Hamburger Helper?
I'm going to go with Thing, but now I'm thinking about if you really are Ben Grimm, that could really hurt yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'll ruin a guy.
I mean, it gives a whole new definition to rock hard. Oh, this one is going to be labeled explicit for sure.
Which proves Alicia from the Fantastic Four comics, that's a hell of a woman. Okay.
Yeah.
Cause that's really you smelling what someone's cooking right there. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Saving us from ourselves and always do you.
Woo. Do
Boo-boo.
you? Boo-boo.
All right. So what we're talking about today, if I can get us back on track here, now we're not our honest ad. Bradley, do you mind if I tell our audience what we're talking about today?
Go for it.
Okay, so we are doing part 1 of our 2-part show, or we're gonna PreVenge a show, a movie that we both love near and dear. It is one of, and we will do Grow Through Stupidity. It is one near and dear to us. It is The Goonies, aka the Stranger Things before Stranger Things. All right. So before we get into our deep dive and discussion about it, there's a little bit of the dirty deeds, sir. All right. So those dirty deeds are just a release date. It came out in 1985. If you're not familiar with it, this movie was iconic not only for the subject matter. This is a really good movie, but think about the folks who are in this movie. For our younger viewers, some of these folks you may not be as familiar with, but Sean Astin, a.k.a. Yes, grow through stupidity. So we've got Sean Astin, aka Samwise Gamgee. We've got Josh Brolin, aka Thanos or Cable. We've got Corey Feldman, aka he's alive? Question mark. And Ki Kwan, who I will talk a little bit more about later on. We've got Kerry Green as Andy and Bradley. They should have tracked the data for the amount of people who took up tennis based on Andy Green and the Goonies, sir. Yes.
That's a good
Yes.
point.
Yes. Yes. I didn't actually go play tennis, but I did go to the tennis courts and started hanging out a lot. Just,
Yeah.
because any sport that has love in it, I figured, hey, why not? Yes. Yeah. And you got to give real love to, again, one of the greatest actresses ever when it comes to things, Anne Ramsey as Mama Fratelli. God, she was just fantastic, and just really great to see her. So again, those were the Goonies, and hopefully, for anyone that's out there, if you've not seen the Goonies, you can get it on streaming services. Don't rent it. Go out and buy it. Again, one of those movies that really just solidified my childhood. Brad, before I give you some little known facts about it, what are your thoughts on the Goonies?
I remember watching it so many times growing up in the 80s. I mean, The Goonies is a movie that really has never gotten old.
No.
I mean, like
No.
anybody can watch The Goonies. Yes, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. Yes, there are plot holes, but we don't care about those. It's just a good movie.
If you enjoyed the early Harry Potter movies, which were directed by Christopher Columbus, this is where he got his start, was the Goonies. Steven Spielberg did a lot of this. The Goonies is just a fantastic film. You're right, there are some typical plot holes. You're watching a kid's movie for plot holes. But guess what? If you're watching a movie for plot holes, go watch Citizen Kane. Okay? This is one of those things you can just hang out with your kids. And one of the things I love most about the Goonies is it shows something that, again, kind of we forget about in today's day and age. We're all connected with these cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of the plot was you had a group of friends who lived in the Pacific Northwest who basically disappear for a day and a half. And it probably was a good 12 hours where their parents thought, well, maybe something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, again, I get to play the old man card when I was growing up. But yeah, when we were kids, you could just hop on your bike and go, and your parents basically expected you back by a certain time, and you get into all kinds of mischief. Which, knowing my childhood, I am very glad that not everybody had a phone, which is a camera in their pocket, because that would have, that may have put a couple cramps on my life decisions. But the Goonies, again, is one of those great things that we all really, really love. So, Bradley, would you like a few of the little known facts about the Goonies?
Yes, I would love it.
Let's see if I got a couple for you. So, the Goonies is kind of a great career intersection for two of their characters. So, Josh Brolin, who played Bran, the older brother, this was his feature film debut. However, Jeff Cohen, the young man who played Chunk, this was his only live action film. So this was Brolin's first. This was Chunk's only. He did some voice acting, but it's the only time that this actor was in a film. By the way, he actually is a lawyer now, and he runs a talent agency representing actors and actresses.
Very cool.
Yes. Both of the Coreys. Bradley, who are the Coreys in the 80s?
Corey's was every girl's dream boys. Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
Yes.
They did several movies together.
Yes.
Corey Haim unfortunately died. Well, it was probably 10 years ago now.
Yeah, probably at least that of some substance abuse issues with Corey Feldman shared those same issues.
Yeah.
By the way, if you believe some of the stories, they made a lot of home movies together as well, which we'll move forward on. But both Corey Haim and Corey Feldman auditioned for the movie. So Corey Feldman auditioned for the character Mouth, and Corey Haim auditioned for the character that was actually for Sean Astin's character. So he actually did not win the Mikey character. And again, if you know, and what that basically means is that had things went out differently, the true hero of Lord of the Rings could have been Corey
Samwise
Haim.
Gamgee. Yeah.
Could have been, well, it could have been Corey Haim because
Oh,
he would have. By the way, I think Corey Haim would have not let. Well, ask if you've seen any pictures of Corey Haim before he died. R.I.P. He kind of looked like Golem. So
yeah.
yeah. Again, it's in the immortal words of Rick James, cocaine, meth, and all the things are a hell of a drug. Okay, all right. So Corey Haim, excuse me, Corey Haim. Corey Feldman actually earned the nickname Mouth on the set beyond it just being the character. The scene, and Brad, you probably remember the scene in Goonies where they hide the rubies and jewels, and they start actually pulling out the pearls and all the things out of Corey Feldman's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That scene was done in one take, and he legitimately had all that stuff in his mouth for one take. So he was actually known as Mouth from that point on because he
Nice.
legitimately could do that. All right. That is also why apparently he has sister wives. Hey, whatever works for you, bro. This one I found really cool, and this may be a subject of a future show. The Goonies and the Gremlins are in the same universe.
Really?
This has been confirmed by multiple sources that Goonies and Gremlins are in the same universe. So there is space for a Gremlins Goonies crossover. So there may be some things we could do there. By the way, why was that never a movie? Why was this never Gremlins versus Goonies?
I don't know.
That movie should have happened. So yeah, like absolutely.
Huh.
All right.
Maybe that'll come in play in the after credit scene.
It could, sir. And then my last little known fact is this: in Astoria, Washington, which is where the movie is supposed to take place, where it was actually filmed, June 7th is Goonies Day.
Very cool.
So June 7th, while I do not live in Astoria, Washington, I will be rocking my Goonies t-shirt. Because as my sign-off is every week, folks, Goonies, never say die.
Awesome, dude. All right. Are you ready for some Lone Star reviews?
Lone Star with 2 R's, kind of like Spaceballs?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So the first review,
Mhm.
I'm not going to say where I got it. I don't want to ruin anything, but I will say they call it idiotic.
Idiotic? Okay.
Idiotic. This
All
is
right.
from 2009.
A recent one. Okay.
Yeah. Where's my ass? Well, you know what? I'm going to try to do this better. I'm going to read this. I'm going to do a dramatic reading here. Where's my aspirin? After watching this, I have a headache. I must be one of the only people in the world who dislike this movie. Granted, I did not see it as a kid, as an adult. I found it obnoxious beyond belief, mostly because of all the constant chatter and screaming, ah! Throughout the movie made me spend a lot of time fast forwarding. The stereotyping was beyond annoying. This is the kind of movie that gives kids permission to think it's okay to be annoying and behaving like dodos. Yes, I know it was a spoof, but it was still too moronic and sophomoric for my taste. The script jumped around and didn't make sense in many places. And tell me why anyone would believe they were building a golf course in the middle, golf course in the hills of Astoria, Oregon.
Oregon, not Washington. I stand corrected.
That's
Okay.
right. The main house sits on a hill, unsuitable for a golf course. We must have had a lot more tolerance for bad scripts in the 80s. Cocaine. I've seen a variety of 80s movies which had awful scripts and nominated for Oscars. The Spiderwick Chronicles are 100% better. In fact, I can't think of a worse kids movie than this one. Brian, your immediate response.
Wow. First off, you've never been around a kid because kids spend an inordinate amount of time screaming on if they're not falling.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Number two, it's not a spoof. It's not a parody. It is not referencing any other material. Spaceballs is a spoof. Spaceballs is a parody because it came from plays on Star Wars. This has nothing. This was not a play on anything. The Spiderwick Chronicles. If you like the Spiderwick, just like in the intro when I go to AKA, if you like the Spiderwick Chronicles, if you like Stranger Things, that is inspired and takes a lot of its lead from the Goonies. The idea of the golf course. Never heard of a bulldozer.
No, I don't think they did. I don't think they did, Brian.
And if you know anything about golf courses have hills, they have valleys, they have straightaways. A true golf course has room for a hotel, restaurants, housing around it. No, they didn't say that where the house was going to be built was going to be where the golf course was. The entire town was being purchased for the use of a golf court. By the way, if you watch any movie, unless it's specifically about building golf courses and you think about the plausibility of where the golf course is going to lay, turn off the movie. You have missed the point. You have missed the point. And by the way, I want to see all the horrible 80s movies with horrible plots you watch. Back to the Future, The Goonies, the Indiana Jones trilogy, Rocky. Well, Rocky 3 was kind of jumped the hill a little bit. Fine. I'll give you Masters of the Universe. I'll give you that one. Okay. I'll even give you one. I'll give you Hot to Trot with Bobcat Goldthwait. Okay, I'll give you that one. I'm not giving you the Goonies. So I'm sorry you found it implausible. But again, with this one, while I won't give them 5 shots of the haterade because they did correct me with it being a story of Oregon, not a story of Washington, we are doing, in my opinion, going to give you 4 shots of the haterade. So
awesome.
To you.
I agree with you. Are you ready for? I have 3. So are you ready for number 2?
Never have enough alcohol for this. Go for it.
This one is titled Atrocious.
Was it at least spelled correctly?
Yes, it was.
Okay,
yes.
All right. Well, starting off strong. At least they spelled the word, big word, spelled it correctly. All right.
Well, I'll do my best to bring out the drama in this.
I'm digging the dramatic read. I really am.
Thank you. The acting.
By the way, if they ever remake Dukes of Hazzard again, you can totally play Boss Hog. I mean, you've got it. You got the
I'm
voice,
in.
Man. You project.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
I will be cast as Daisy's cousin, Molasses. Go ahead.
I will put in the contract.
Thank you.
You got to have both.
Same wardrobe, though. Same wardrobe.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
The acting, screenplay, and direction are all atrocious in this unwatchable and boring film. Spielberg's cliche-ridden story seems to be made up of leftover ideas from Raiders of the Lost Ark. The script is amateurish and has no rhyme or reason. It's as if they made up the story as they went along. The kids are simply obnoxious. They talk non-stop and don't say anything interesting. The film is supposedly targeted at youngsters, but it has crude, sexual humor. Not the least bit funny. And tasteless violence directed at children. Rather than directed himself, Spielberg brought in Donner, presumably to spread the blame like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But
without the crust, though. Without the crust.
But the latter does nothing to save this sinking ship.
All right. The one thing Donner did that, while I'm not a fan, the fact that he did do homage to his other big project, Superman, with Sloth in the shirt, I got to give him that. It was clever. Okay. So taking again a few points from this. Kids talking nonstop. that again is what kids do.
Mhm.
Kids being obnoxious, that's kind of what kids do, and that's very much in the
Mhm.
eyes of the beholder. The crude sexual content was, I'm assuming, is referring to when the statue falls over and it's a new statue, and the statue's male genitalia gets broken off and they glue it on upside down. Again, growth through stupidity. Have you been, and remember, the cast is primarily a bunch of 12 to 14-year-old boys
Yeah.
who find it giggly that that one of the boys' mom had a statue where the guy is nude, and they knocked the statue over and it broke his junk, and you heard him go, "That's my mom's favorite piece." I was around the same age bracket when the movie came out. I
Yeah.
fell off my chair laughing
Yeah.
with that, because, hey, kids think junk's funny. Guess what? I'm now in my 40s. I still think junk's kind of funny. All right.
Yeah. Right.
Because
I mean, how many poop jokes have we told already?
dude, and we keep them coming. They
Right.
never get backed up. But with that,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of like a little bit of a Miralax.
yeah, but here's
Just
the deal:
Miralax.
we have growth through stupidity, but we'll never get it on your shoe. Now, again,
Oh,
obnoxious.
wipe it off. Wipe it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that it's atrocious again. And the last piece is the violence. Okay, so, and I do want to, I didn't say this with the first review. So, there are some stereotypes in Goonies, especially with the character of Data. That, looking at it in 2023 now eyes, it definitely marketed on some things that he's geeky, he's nerdy, he's good at math and science, and he can barely speak English.
Yeah.
All those things that they played on. Yeah, okay, they definitely they make fat jokes when it comes to Chunk. So yeah, with 2023 as versus 1985 as, you maybe go, well, that was a little stereotypical. None of it was meant to be harmful, and I don't think you've ever seen Goonies listed as any type of hate fuel product. Go ahead, Brad.
I was just gonna say that with that, Data was the coolest one because he had the gizmo.
Data was what I wanted to be, because again, he had slick shoes, he had pincers of peril. Come on, that was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was, and then the violence against the kids. Yes, okay, so they are running from the Fratellis, who are gangsters. So my response to this would be this: so if you write a script where kids discover that you are minimally have broken someone out of prison, but also you've also committed at least one murder. Remember, they find a dead body, or as Chuck would say, "It's a stiff." Again, one of my favorite movies. I can pretty much quote it chapter and verse. What would you have the hardened criminals' response to be? These are children. We should not do anything to them. No, okay, things happen. The way the script plays out, name the actual act of violence that the kids actually encounter. None. There's no act of violence that the kids really, towards the end, they push them into the water, that sort of thing. But the kids don't get shot, even though the Fratellis have guns the entire film. The kids are, no one drowns, no one dies. In fact, the adults, similar to Home Alone, which again, I would love this person's review of Home Alone. Similar to Home Alone, the kids are pitted against the adults, and they outsmart the adults, usually using kiddish things such as, again, oil coming out the back of a kid's shoes, or the grappling hook that he shoots out like Spider-Man's web out of his wrist. And yes, there were some allusions to Temple of Doom, because not only there's some source, they come from the same ultimate great mind, but the character kind of in between there as well. So yeah, so again, this one, because of the violence thing, you're gonna trump the first, because you didn't give me anything that I got wrong. You're gonna get, I think, 4.5 shots of haterade.
All right, and number 3,
sir.
This is titled, "Is the only reason people like this movie is because it's nostalgic." I gotta read that again. Okay, let me try to. Is the only reason people like this movie is because it's nostalgic?
I'm gonna stop you right before you get the rest of it. Yes, the reason that all of us that watched it when it first came out, the first run, liked the movie, because when we first watched it the first time during the first run, it was nostalgic.
And this is from 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last one was from 2008. So I don't
Oh,
remember if I said that or not. All right.
you didn't, and again, these late reviews. Okay, let's hit it.
All right. What kind of drama should I try to add to this one?
Oh, I kind of want you to go Shatner going to his proctology appointment. Can you give me one of those?
I'll see what I can do.
All right, let's hit it.
This movie is awful. Incomprehensible dialogue. Half the time, I don't know what the characters are saying. Half of the time, it's telling and screaming in each character, talking over each other. How does anyone enjoy this movie?
Because we were kids.
Genuinely don't get it. The only reason this has a high review is because it's nostalgic to the 80s. Other than that, this movie is a snooze fest and boring.
So are those different things? It's a snooze fest and boring.
Yeah.
Or it could be a snooze fest and not boring. Or
I mean,
I guess.
yeah. Shatner might say something different, but yeah.
Okay, so just to look up, they've tracked the Goonies throughout. I went to Rotten Tomato and Metacritic, going through the entire life of it. The movie has always received generally favorable reviews, peaking at 91% at one particular point. Roger Ebert, who is not known for just willy-nilly giving things great reviews, when it came out, gave the film 3 out of 4 stars and said it was a smooth mixture of the usual ingredients of Steven Spielberg. No one said Spielberg was, oh yeah, I guess he did kind of win an Academy Award for, stuff. And Schindler's List, I know what he won for. Made special because of the high energy form of the kids who have the adventures. Guess what? You put a bunch of kids who are legitimate kids. Okay, these aren't older actors playing children. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're used to the 90210s where you've got 18-year-olds being played by 30-year-olds. But when you take a bunch of legitimate kids and put them here, this is the type of energy you're going to get. This is what kids bring. By the way, the film grossed $63.9 million in the year it came out, which made it and while basically $64 million. While $64 million may not sound like a lot today, especially in the world of Marvel box office, in 1985, that placed it in the top 10. And it made an additional $60 million overseas. So even in countries that may have different cultures, different ways in which adults and children interact, guess what? It was still considered a hit. Okay. So again, one of the top 10 movies of that year. With that being said, I'll go back to it again. No, the movie does not get high reviews because it was nostalgic for the people the first time they watched it, because that's not how nostalgia works. Secondly, of course, the kids talked over each other. That's how kids have conversations. That's how a lot of adults have conversations too, unfortunately. The idea of things being nonsensical or you having a hard time following, to me, it's got a straightforward plot. So for you, my friend, and for the other two as well, while I am sorry that you do not enjoy one of the best movies from my childhood and from many others' childhoods, we do salute you, but we are going to again say, now we're going to give you again the 4.5 shots of the Haterade. And just remember again, no matter what you spout out, Goonies, never say that, because Bradley, down here, it's our time. Down here. Remember that.
Yes. Okay. Woo! That was fun. So I think it is time.
I got one more. I got one more. I was just thinking about it. We've talked before that one of the coolest things to ever respond when someone says they love you is to go,
I know.
I know. Think about one of the worst ways to get broken up with is that when you think you're saving your girlfriend and all you get is your Letterman jacket on a bucket, right? Right?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yes.
That would definitely be up there.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
This is how cool the 80s were. Then I'll let you move forward. In a movie that a young woman kisses brothers, guess what? No slut shaming.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy. You made Mikey's day, and you and Brent are gonna go off and have kids before he loses his arm or gains a gauntlet or dates Barbara Streisand or
Yeah.
he does a lot of other things or finds aliens in the back of a cattle ranch. I mean, he had a big life.
Nice.
Roland had a big life. All right, sir. Please keep us moving.
All right. So, as far as my prevenge, I would just came. The only thing that I could came up with, I'm guessing that you flushed out more. It's the origin of One-Eyed Willie.
Yes, sir.
And so, you know what? For this part, sir, I am gonna let you take this one away.
All right, sir. One moment. I bring to you, ladies and gentlemen, the story of One-Eyed Willie. So again, for any of our people in our audience who are not familiar with the Goonies, the plot of the Goonies is you have a bunch of kids who live in an area of Astoria, Oregon, and the neighborhood is called the Boondocks. It's called the Goondocks. Hence, the kids call themselves the Goonies. Okay. With that being said, their neighborhood is sounds like the town for the most part is being purchased by a developer. That is a little bit of a plot thing. Like, can you buy a whole town? Yes, you can, but it's a little involved. But with that being said, the town, at least their neighborhood, their houses are going to be bulldozed to build a golf court by Troy and his dad. By that point, because this movie was so good, share how good this movie was. If you were named Troy for about 10 years, I didn't like you. This guy's name was Troy. And I still ain't a big fan. Still not a big fan of people named Troy. Okay. And for any Cowboy fans, Aikman is okay. But with
He's not
that,
wrong.
he's not wrong. Yeah, thank you. So they go on this whirlwind adventure to try and save the Goondocks by looking for a treasure that was supposed to be hidden on a ship by a ship captain by the name of One-Eyed Willie. And he's called One-Eyed Willie because
this is going to be explicit anyway. Bring it, man.
I'm not.
I mean,
again, I just love the fact how great this movie is. You had a bunch of kids running around going, "I found One-Eyed Willie." I bet you did, son.
Was it hard to find?
Yes, or hey, your mom did too. Anyway, so
at least 3 times.
Okay, so they. Oh God! So anyway, they find One-Eyed Willie's treasure, but in my pre-story, I'm going to give you the origin story of One-Eyed Willie. So here we go, sir. One-Eyed Willie is a quiet barkeep living on a quiet island. He meets and falls in love with a local teacher named Mary. Embarrassed at his appearance of only having one eye and his lack of education, he can barely read. One-Eyed Willie is too shy to approach her at first. But with the urging of his best friend, One-Eyed Willie professes his love for Mary. The two court and eventually wed. All is well until their small island encounters a supernatural storm. And out of the fog comes a ship with black sails. The captain of the ship is taken by the beauty of Mary, and he offers her a life of excitement and adventure in a faraway land. Mary looks at One-Eyed Willie, who she calls William, kisses him gently, and leaves with the pirate for an unknown world. The next day, a heartbroken One-Eyed Willie embarks on a quest. Over a year later, he finds and opens a treasure, a chest where he removes a single coin of Aztec gold. Driven by anger and jealousy, One-Eyed Willie begins a career of marauding across the Caribbean, or some would even say the Caribbean. After decades of piracy and amassing untold wealth, an exhausted One-Eyed Willie gives his most trusted crew member the piece of Aztec gold and makes him swear to return it. Weeks later, One-Eyed Willie feels his immortality fade. He hides his ship away on the caves of the Pacific Northwest. He eats one final meal, the first in decades, and goes to his grave never having found the pirate in black, known as the Dread Pirate Roberts. One-Eyed Willie's full name is revealed to be William Rigetti, the One-Eyed Pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean. How was that, sir?
I super dig this, man. I really, really dig this, man. Like this is the only story that I could think of that would be an appropriate prevenge of the Goonies, because there are no the Goonies that start. I mean, it'd be cool to see like their kids and stuff like that in the future.
Sure.
Who knows? Maybe that'll what'll come into play. But dude, yeah, you won. You won the episode with that prevenge, sir. Well done.
Proud of that one.
That was yes. That was definitely. If you think about it, a steak pun is a rare, medium, well done. Yes, you're bringing the dad jokes out at me. Something that we haven't had in a while. That one was good.
Bradley, what's the one room? What's the one room with no doors?
What's the one room with no doors?
Yes.
I don't know what.
A mushroom.
Are you a Smurf?
No. I'm not going. No, there's no. Hey Bradley, how do you make an octopus laugh?
Tentacles.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think that's an oldie but goodie. Yes, absolutely. All right, sir. Okay, sir. What do we have remaining, sir?
All right. So all we have left, we need to talk about our Better Than Us Person of the Week.
Hey, before we do that, I did have a question for you. Now that I think back. Okay, so with all this Goonies talk, before we talk about Better Than Us Person of the Week, here's my question to you, sir. Which Goonie are you?
Oh man, I'm Chunk.
You feeling Chunk?
I'm feeling probably more Chunk than anything.
Right.
So like as a kid, man, I was geeky. I mean, I was pretty geeky. Man, I wanted to be Data, but I just was not smart enough to be Data.
Sure.
I'm gonna go Chunk. I'm just gonna go Chunk. What about you?
I felt Chunk, and I was a chunky. I'm still chunky and chubby now, but also what I related to is that he spent a lot of time in a room alone with an older man and a baby Ruth. So
yeah, and he may have wandered to mom and dad's room and wandered underneath the bed.
And if you find, by the way, kids, if you ever find like a large man who's chained maybe to your parents' bed. And before you let him go, and definitely don't call the authorities because it might be Wednesday, but
the hamburger helper,
You know what they say with hamburger helper? No glove, no love. But as you are crawling underneath the bed and you pull slowly pull out that box and open it, and of course with your ungloved, non-dismembered hand, reach in to see if maybe One-Eyed Willie's treasure is there. And I guarantee you will find things in there for One-Eyed Willie.
Yeah.
Just remember this message comes from your uncles Bradley and Brian here at PreVenge of the Nerds.
Yeah. Woo! All right. With that being said,
get us out of here, bro.
All right, man. How can we find you so we can
Wait,
talk
let's
more
try better
about
than
those
human.
box?
I took us off track.
Oh,
Let's try
that's
better
right.
than better than us human of the week. Yes.
All right.
I,
Well, actually, I'll go real quick.
yes, please.
Got two things really. I really got into Hardy's new album, so I couldn't really think of anybody else. I'm gonna give it to Hardy. He released a new album this last week. It's half country, half '90s hard rock.
Huh.
It's good. It's good. I really dig it. Other than that, today would have been my grandpa and grandma's it's their heavenly anniversary. So I love it, grandpa and grandma, and I miss you every day.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Great. Great. And my better than us human of the week is going to be one Ki Kwan, who again has what played Data in the Goonies, but he also played Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and most recently won the Golden Globe for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Beyond the fact that Goonies is one of my favorite movies, my personal favorite of the Indiana Jones movies is actually Temple of Doom. I'm really not a huge Raiders fan because Indy really isn't relevant. It is everything would have played out the same without Indy. Don't believe me? Watch the Big Bang Theory. They explain it. And once you bring Shia LaBeouf in, you lost me. But Everything Everywhere All at Once is also really good. And his acceptance speech, which I want to say I may have mentioned during last week's recording as well. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on TikTok. It's just a beautifully worded, sincere acceptance speech, and where he talks a lot about how feeling that you've peaked, and we don't talk about. I mean, we don't get in as much super serious stuff on the show, but it's easy to make fun of people who are child actors, and they become really rich and famous before they're 20, and we never hear from them again. And while that's kind of fun sport, or that's like, whatever happened to whoever, he talks about it from the place of being one of those people. Of really, feeling that he peaked at 14 years old in his chosen craft and what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. And then how this movie, this opportunity really made him really get his confidence back as a person. Great speech, well done. And so again, speaking of someone who, again, this movie, regardless of those 3 reviews, has given me a lot of joy. I just want to give it up for Mr. Ki Kwan from, again, the Goonies and all the things, as this week's, in my opinion, better than us human of the week.
I like it, man. Yeah, he was the most memorable character in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom.
Yes.
My favorite Indiana Jones is The Last Crusade. I'm more of I love the dynamic between Indy and Sean Connery. But yes, that first scene with the casino scene,
yes,
is probably one of the best movie openings ever.
And the singing, and I mean the whole deal, and then later on when he's in the cab with the blocks on his shoes, and when they're fighting the cult of Kali and the fire and all that. Man, I'm gonna have to go watch the movie. I'm gonna watch Goonies and then Temple of Doom tonight. But he's just great. I mean, again, he gave a lot of joy, and again, both characters definitely are troped into some stereotypes at a time that it was easy to deal in those tropes. But he again gave me, as one, at the time when this movie came out, 9-year-old boy, loved both those movies, especially Goonies. But I agree with you on Indy and the Temple of Doom, and he was great. So again, Ki Kwan, very congratulations, and again, thank you for being my better than human person of the week.
Awesome, man. All right, so let's go ahead and how can we find you?
All right. Okay. So if you haven't heard if you ever are in the need to learn more about how you go and get that box slowly, give me a like or a friend request on Facebook at Brian Stephen Dennis. Again, I promise I will hopefully not get you banned from anything. All right, Bradley. What about you, sir?
So you can tweet at me at Fandemic3. You can message me on Facebook at the Fandemic. Also active on TikTok. I'll be releasing some clips of this podcast and others as we go along, so you can hear reviews and much more. I want to really get back into some comic stuff. I've been kind of neglecting my comic book collection, so I'm going to be
careful, Brad. Those may have plot holes as well.
Right? Exactly. Oh man. All right. So if you want to support the show, there are several ways to do so. One, you could buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thefandemic. Brian and I will toast you and roast you on the very next episode, and it won't be with water.
It will be. It will most likely be clear. It will most likely be clear.
Yes. You can
Yes.
find us on Patreon at patreon.com/PVOTN Fandemic. Become an episode assistant, episode producer, a PreVenge producer like Stacy, or yes, you could be part of the con. Yes, that is the Council of Nerds, starting at $5 a month. Or you can go to anchor.fm/PVOTN, PayPal or Venmo at Bradley Butin, or just share the show that you want to make with somebody that you want to make a little more awesome. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review. And again, find us on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook. All of the things to remind you. Make sure let's keep the conversation alive in the comments. I'll talk. Brian will talk. Usually we don't shut up very easily. So
Because again, for some reason we watched this movie, or maybe we learned how to talk over each other and nonstop, and it was obnoxious. But Bradley, I have one joke before we do our sign off, sir.
yes, bring it.
What is One-Eyed Willie's favorite band?
Def Leppard.
The Strokes.
You already won the episode. I just took it. We might have to count that towards next week. I like it. I will probably use that tomorrow at work. I'm so Gage, if you're watching, listening, there's a preview of the joke I'm going to tell you, buddy. All right.
Alrighty, that's great.
So, Brian, I think we have hit max levels of awesome for the week. Let's end it like we do on a positive note. What are your words of wisdom?
As always, thank you for joining us for what is my favorite part of the week. Hope you've leveled up your awesome along with us. Again, we look forward to you joining us each and every week. Remember to never say die, never give up, and Goonies. No surrender, no retreat, and Goonies. Never say die.
Thanks for catching up. You're welcome for leveling up your awesome. Live free or die empty, friends. Have a great day, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.